So I will be using this video to raise money for Nottingham Hospitals Charity and the Nottingham Forest Community Trust. Both of these amazing local charities make a huge difference to the Nottingham community, and I would really appreciate it if you could help me reach the target of £75. The first predator that we shall be discussing in this video is John Dupay, a package handler for UPS. So the episode starts with Chris explaining who Tetrad Core are and what they do. Then we see something so terrifying it will make you seek out Medusa herself.
John Dupay will find out that this hookup has no happy ending.
What is that? Ugh, it's hideous!
I know. It even looks like it was taken a full decade ago to try and make him look less disgusting, but you can only polish a turd so much.
Dupay contacts not one, but two of our decoys.
This is honestly disgusting. Contacting two decoys. Just try being
the one lady person.
Then they play his phone call to the decoy, and it makes you feel like it's the call you get in the ring just before you die.
Hello. Hey. Hey, baby.
His fake names are also atrocious. Johnny Santoro sounds like a particularly shit porn star, and Johnny Connecticut is like saying, "Hi, I'm Peter Humpchilips."
He worked as a package handler at UPS.
Nah, that's too easy.
He claims he's 30, but he's actually 40.
Ah, this explains why the photo looks like it was taken in the land before time. Also, why would you lie about your age? Name I understand, but age? It doesn't make it any less creepy. The police aren't going to say, "Ah yes, I know you came here to molest this child as a 40-year-old man, but now that you say you were 30, here are some sex tips." So finally, John walks into the house on his phone, and this really pisses me off. Who are you texting? You have no one, you stanky man. That's why you're going around to a year 8's house at your big age. At least show your victim some respect, you nonce. Also, it's great to see the decoy put as much space as physically possible between her and Argus Filcher's noncy nephew. Her training has served her well.
It's so nice to finally see you. This is crazy.
This decoy deserves every acting award under the sun to make it actually believable that she is happy to see this walking pile of human garbage.
So what do you want to do?
A hug?
My god, you can see the cartoon odor lines in real life. Bailey then decides she can have either her eyes or her nostrils assaulted, but not both, and the man himself, Chris Hansen, emerges from the curtain to shatter this prick's dreams.
Hey, hey.
I love it when Chris flips Predator lines back onto them. It makes them look even more stupid for thinking that a child would be into their noncery.
What is your plan here tonight?
Just hang out, watch football?
Now I actually believe that this is his real reason. He looks exactly like every person I've ever seen in a Derby County shirt. Come to think of it though, they were nonces too. Oh, that kind of football. Yeah, I bet you are. I bet you don't even know who's playing.
And why would you at 30 think it would be okay to hang out with a 13-year-old girl home alone?
I mean,
why are you flashing back with this true crime looking ass filter? It happened not even 2 minutes ago. I'm not that stupid, Crime Watch Daily.
I know, but you just came to hang out. You know, I brought...
What, get a hug?
And watch football.
Watch football?
Yep.
Who's playing tonight?
Steelers and the Ravens.
Yeah, I bet you are. I bet you don't even know who's playing.
So maybe you do? By the way, I love how this is one of few times that you will ever see Chris outright stunned, so props to John Dupay. It's a +1 IQ from what I thought you were.
So what do you do at UPS?
I was a package handler.
Package handler.
No, still too easy.
And how many times have you done this with somebody who's 13, 14 years old?
Never.
Never talked to another girl who said she was 13?
No.
Well, who's Brittany?
Watching predators get backed into a corner and immediately outed by Chris is
the cleanest, best pleasure.
Did you bring condoms with you?
If someone, by some anti-miracle, let Dupay near an orifice of theirs, do you think this living drawing of a sex offender would bother with protection?
Our survey said...
Now, you talked about spending the night. Yes or no?
It depended, you know, like, if she had to wake up in the morning, you know, like, if I was going to stay here.
Did she have to go to school?
She said she didn't have to go to school today.
She's closer to nursery than employment. Why do you think justifying your actions is the correct course here?
You tell her, I would love to be the first guy to make you blank.
That I honestly made a mistake.
That you made a mistake.
Good news, everyone. We found the title of Dupé's parents' sex tape.
And how would you define that mistake?
About 6'1", 180 pounds. Looks like a scraggly monster from a cheap horror film.
I'm not playing with her, but, you know, it just seemed like where she was, you know, like...
Probably the local playground. Or middle school. But I think you should check the police station first.
You talked about salads.
Hey baby, I hear the blues are calling. Toss salads and scrambled eggs. So then John goes into the garage and is arrested.
Any weapons?
Oh, I see one. He's about 6'1".
He's booked, fingerprinted, and poses for a mugshot.
So he pleaded guilty and got 8 years in prison, suspended after serving 3. They also mentioned that he was taunted mercilessly, proving absolutely no one likes a paedophile. John Dupé. The next predator that we are covering is 59-year-old Charles Lawrence.
But Charles Lawrence isn't looking to hook up with a 13-year-old girl. He's looking for a boy.
Gay!
Seriously though, why is this so needlessly over-dramatic?
And Tetrad Core.
That looks extremely uncomfortable.
Lawrence is well educated and apparently very well off. He lives in Fairfield, a jewel of Connecticut's Gold Coast.
It would be interesting to see somebody film a show like this in a shithole, you know, somewhere like Derby, that kind of like run-down, terrible area that no one wants to live in, rather than the jewel of Connecticut's Gold Coast.
And get this, he lives only 2,000 feet away from our Sting House, a quarter mile he probably wishes he never traveled.
Charles, I know that you're so old that you saw the pyramids under construction, but seriously, you wouldn't walk that distance, you lazy dipshit? Now they have the right to search your car, so actually, in a weird way, thank you, you dingus.
The conversation quickly becomes sexually charged.
I had sex with my ex-girlfriend, nothing with a guy.
Gotcha. But you like guys better now?
Never tried it, but being with my girlfriend was really awkward.
Maybe you need a good teacher.
Yeah, you know one?
I do. Walter Babst, James Rutherford, Stanley Kent. So then Charles comes to the house and is greeted by the decoy, and fun fact, this decoy did 2 tours of Afghanistan in 2002 before coming to work for this show, as a 13-year-old.
Want water? Yeah. How's your day been so far? Good.
Do you need some help, my guy? This sounds like a bomber plane rather than you just grabbing water from a fridge. Although I suppose you know about bomber planes from your time in the Bosnian War.
No, Chris.
And if he thinks he's in for a shock, so am I.
What are you doing here?
Chris is just acting like a teacher here, you know. He's not mad, just disappointed and sad.
That this was a fellow I had met on the commuter train years ago. Chris, please. I know, but you'd have to explain this to me.
Chris has fully just binned the journalism now and the safety precautions here. He just wants to know why an acquaintance of his was trying to put his dick in a child. So the cops arrest and book him, they search his car and find something rather interesting.
Cops find cigarettes, condoms, and a gay porn video called Seattle Bareback Boys.
I have some research to do.
I mean, Chris Hansen is actually, I know him, he's a friend of mine.
Not anymore, bitch!
Okay, so you thought you were meeting an 18-year-old. My eye got scratched, so I can't wear my contacts, so I'm wearing these glasses. And I was downstairs having a cup of coffee, and my glasses were upstairs. And I'm looking. I thought he said 18. It says 13. I can't even read that.
Oh, well, that makes sense, you know. It's a great thing that as an accountant, you don't have to handle sensitive financial documents that require meticulous examination of numbers daily. Clearly, he's innocent. He pleaded guilty, kind of, to 3 charges and got 8 years, suspended after serving just 2, and has to register as a sex offender for life.
Well, yeah, well, some would say it's not stiff enough, Chris.
Next up is 28-year-old military veteran Stephen Buchanan, who comes in the dead of night bringing gifts like his fucking gun. When you see everything he brought with him to meet a child, You will be shocked and in awe. So the episode starts with Chris giving a scaremongering introduction to scare the parents into doing their jobs.
Finding an underage child is as easy as tapping an app. These deviants troll sites like Whisper, Kick, and Grindr. And there are growing fears that even Pokemon Go could be used to lure children.
Really? What are they like? I don't know who created Pokemon Go, but I'm trying to figure out how we get them to have Pokemon go to my basement.
Doesn't take long for 27-year-old Stephen Buchanan to send a selfie.
Why have they set up a thermal camera? Is an AC-130 looking to take out the predators from above or something?
Our night vision cam shows Buchanan circling the block.
Boy, get your Bigfoot-looking ass inside that damn house.
I'm just really scared. Can you just like prove to me right now that you don't have a gun?
How exactly is he supposed to do that? Get naked and show you his cavities? His plan is to do that inside you.
Like I said, I don't have nothing on me.
Yeah, I trust you.
Sir, I, a 13-year-old girl who frantically asked you if you had a gun, trust you, a balding 28-year-old who came over with the purpose of definitely committing statutory rape and possibly murdering me. Luckily for everyone, Stephen is the dumbest piece of trash alive and doesn't leave this obvious setup situation.
What if I took you to an empty parking lot and tell you to drive?
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Would you like that?
Would you like to go to my secret murder place? Would it help if I said that you could ride in the boot?
You're gonna put your trust in me?
So I can put my dick and a knife in you.
But as you're about to learn, Buchanan may have something more sinister in mind.
I will never understand why Crime Watch Daily decided to split one 15-minute episode into 3 parts and then upload them all on the same day. I mean, talk about stupid ideas.
Stephen, I'm gonna need to talk to you for a minute. Please come in. Come on in, please.
Unbelievably, Buchanan comes inside to talk.
Chris is a bit like Arsenal, you know. When Chris tells the Predator to have a seat, it's a different type of instruction than other people's. So Chris got him to come inside and he's doing his usual routine that he does with the Predators.
What was on the agenda tonight?
I was just gonna take her out.
What do you mean by that? And what exactly were you going to show her?
The beach, sites to go to.
Does this remind anybody else of the shit excuses that the agents who poisoned Sergei Skripal in Salisbury used? Just like, oh yes, we came to see famous cathedral. It is 123 meters tall.
What happened was, when my cousin came,
Right.
she did the same thing. She got assaulted.
She got assaulted.
And I was in the army. And I don't like people doing that.
Yes, I'm sure this is the best way to honour what happened, you shitty wet wipe.
I'm telling you the truth, sir.
Telling the truth, the sexually charged chat proves he's lying.
They are some horribly composed texts. Ah, maybe he thought it was legal because he types like a teenager.
I'm listening.
There's a horrible lapse in judgment.
Out of curiosity, was it severe and continuous?
I haven't been the same since I deployed to Iraq.
Where were you in Iraq?
Camp Merez.
A little bit about the camp. It saw the worst attack on any US base in Iraq during the war in 2004. And I think Chris handles the rest of the interview very well here because he doesn't deny that PTSD happens, but he also doesn't let Stephen off the hook for his horrendous crime. So Stephen then gets his phone out and acts like his text to his child saying, "Let's not have sex," suddenly absolves him of everything. Chris calls him out.
It sounds like somebody who's trying to create some kind of a plausible excuse.
And Stephen is told that he can leave.
And I have your word on that.
I'll shake your hand.
All right, Stephen, you're free to go.
I love how Chris seems almost offended that this guy would try to touch him. It looks like a peasant who's just tried to shake a royal's hand and then Chris goes and ruins it by actually shaking his hand.
Coming out, you come over.
Police department or from police?
Guys, it's super obvious that you're the police. You are allowed to say other things. You don't have to keep repeating police, police, police. So then Stephen sobs in his car, and this is where the cops go and search his vehicle.
The cops search his trunk and make a shocking discovery.
.40 caliber Glock.
Along with the legally registered Glock semi-automatic, they find a knife, duct tape, a camera, and a pack of condoms. I first feared it was what cops commonly call a kill kit.
I swear to God, this man came prepared to solve a murder that he was gonna commit. Seriously though, why did he bring a camera? I love it when my serious crimes are easily documented to make my eventual prosecution even easier.
Gotta keep it together for me, okay? I want to be able to talk to you.
Jingle bells, Buchanan smells, he's solving all the way.
This time, instead of selfies, Buchanan is posing for a mugshot.
He looks a bit like the Hulk when he's in the middle of his transformation here. After the booking process, he sat down and made to talk to a detective, as you do, and something the detective says seems a bit off.
Going towards a younger person is because they don't have, the responsibilities of an older person or me. They have a lot of free time, so it's just like where I could be.
Why don't you have a seat right over here for me?
When you say sexual, just give me an idea of what some of those sexual things. What does that mean?
Oral sex.
Okay.
Penetration.
What kind of penetration?
Vaginal.
Do we really need a list? Like, is it absolutely necessary? He pled guilty to 3 charges, none related to the weapons in his car, and got 10 years suspended after 3 and has to register as a sex offender, so...
Michael Gentile looks like he could be the grumpy old grandfather next door. But what kind of sick senior citizen would send your kids a perverted picture like this?
Hey, my little sex kitten. How are you, sweetheart?
Go away, you delusional pervert.
I can't wait to kiss you and hold you. I love you, sweetheart.
It's a hard knock life for us. It's a hard knock. I'm just really scared. Can you prove to me right now you don't have a gun?
The on-site decoy is a 19-year-old theater student who is posing as a 13-year-old girl.
Possible hot take. This decoy is better than any decoy used in TCAP, and is certainly better than the 54-year-old Iraq veteran that they have playing the male decoy for some reason.
He sends Brittany links to porn videos, asking her to watch and learn. Remember, he thinks he's talking to a 13-year-old girl. Gentile asks her to get a banana and do unmentionable things with it. It's just practice for when the real thing ever happens. I want you to imagine that the banana is me.
Oh, banana.
We went on a tour today of an old castle on the Hudson River. There were 2 girls around your age. I was looking at those girls today, thinking of you, and getting so excited.
See, it's cases like this where I feel that, maybe police brutality isn't that bad.
After about a month of his almost constant texting, it's time to reel in this slimy fish.
I love how Chris isn't even slightly bothered about being diplomatic in this series, so the predators just get the full force of his wrath.
If you look at the dictionary definition of a predator, you'll probably see the face of Michael Gentile.
Hold on. No, it's just words. So we find out that Michael is absolutely obsessed with pictures, and that constitutes most of his talk with the decoy. It makes you think. Gentile sounds a bit like Jessup's, which in turn sounds a bit like Jared. Scary.
He thinks that day is about to come.
I would have recommended redoing that line. In this context, it's something I could imagine Charles Boyle saying, which is not exactly a good thing.
He comes inside for just a moment. It all seems like it's going as planned, but then it seems Grandpa has his antenna up for more than sex, and suddenly he bolts.
Yes, unfortunately, I think the only person who will ever know what spooked him will be the man that came to molest a child. So he leaves, thus denying Chris the chance to talk to him, leaving his only interview to be with the law enforcement officers.
Cops take his fingerprints.
Just relax.
His mugshot.
Here we go.
Sweet! You can add that to your pedo photo album when you're out.
It might be easier for Gentile to speak with detectives who take him to the interrogation room where he signs away his right to remain silent.
The absolute speed in which this man decided to sign the document makes me think that he wants to be found guilty. Maybe he's just doing this so he has to spend a few years away from his wife. I mean, I suppose it's cheaper than divorce.
What was your dialogue between the two of you?
Just different things about everything.
Like?
Sex to school.
What school?
She said she was just studying at home.
Hello and welcome to How to Destroy Your Own Argument in 5 Seconds, the game show where we discuss how to destroy your own argument in 5 seconds or less.
But her thing, when I first met her, she said she was 34 or 36 or something, I don't remember exactly.
Good one, Michael. Ironclad. The decoy definitely looked 34 as well. That's the only reason I can think of why you said, I'll be in my car, rather than, you look too young, I thought you were 34.
You don't mind if I'm frank with you, do you? Do you?
This male police officer playing everything up for the camera just sort of ruins the experience. Then they go and search his hotel room and find just a bunch of suspicious stuff. He pled guilty to 4 crimes and got 4.5 years with 10 probation, and he asked to register as a sex offender. Fun fact, he's out now as well. In fact, all of these predators are out now, apart from Michael Popovich. Now we move on to my absolute favourite predator from Hansen vs Predator to talk about. 28-year-old Wendy's manager and former phone store owner, Jesse Velez. For those that don't know, this guy was on the news once because his store was broken into and one of his former employees did an AMA on Reddit. I'll leave a link in the description below if you would like to have a gander at that. Let's jump into this.
Want a water or something?
He should probably take a sip.
Yeah, that's right. You take a sip because Chris Hansen is about to flame you so hard.
His name is Jesse Velez.
Everybody, it's time for the obligatory laugh at the Predator photo section of the video, so please, take a look and laugh.
He's 28 years old, his screen name is Jose.
Jose, to Jesse, to Jared.
It's kind of nervous. Nervous? I know, I am too.
The question remains though, are you as nervous as the time when you were in Iraq for the Gulf War?
In our sting house in Fairfield, Connecticut, we place more than a dozen hidden cameras to capture every move.
But why? You tend to only use 5 anyway.
He tells Velez he's turning 13 in a week.
You okay that I'm younger? Yes. Like 13 years old younger, LOL? Never chilled with a young guy before.
Jesse has no friends.
I don't have any friends. I have no friends.
Maybe he can make some in prison. Probably not though. They hate predators just as much as other people. Ain't that right, Johnny boy?
At his court appearance, other defendants were taunting him.
Come live with me, LOL. You're kidding, right? No, LOL. How are you gonna explain a 12-year-old kid living with you? I won't. No one won't find out.
On a serious note, what the actual fuck are you doing, Jesse? People are gonna ask questions. Also, this man probably couldn't regulate temperature with a thermostat. How are you going to keep a 13-year-old in check?
You need my book, My House, My Rules, by Joseph Fritzl.
Our on-site decoy, a 19-year-old drama student who is pretending he's 13.
Okay, let me clear something up. I don't blame the lad for looking like he's old enough to have fought in the Korean War. But I do question why the people in charge let him be bait for the predators. Literally, none of them believe that he's 13.
You hungry?
For this dick! So the decoy stumbles through some terrible conversation with the dinosaur man, and we get a bunch of classic decoy lines. That is, they are classic for entirely the wrong reasons.
So you want to stay here? You don't want to stay here? What do you want to do after? Netflix? Chill?
I am drowning. There is no sign of land.
This is going to be a weird question, but you have your ID on you.
Fun little tidbit for you. In Connecticut, 13-year-olds aren't issued a state ID, because why would they be?
Who lives here? Who lives here? Oh, I live here. Me, my mommy, and my daddy.
Yes! Yes!
Velez looks straight at one of our hidden cameras. The decoy moves into distraction mode.
Liz, you want to come look at this? This right here. This is my dad made this.
Ah yes, it appears as if the table here is made out of table.
What Velez doesn't realize is that he's being moved into position for what will be the surprise of his life.
I hope you drank that water, bitch!
Hey, what's happening?
Nothing. Nothing, actually. Just to hang out.
Just to hang out with a 13-year-old boy who you sent a picture of your private parts.
No, I did it. I did?
Yes.
Ugh. Yeah, I used to travel like random people on and off. I'd hang out with them. No, nothing's really sexual, to be honest.
Nothing sexual?
No.
We have literally just established that you sent a child a picture of your dick.
Oh my god, I did not know I even sent that. Ugh. Yeah, I did not know that.
Who was right?
Yeah, usually when I send a picture, like I have a bunch of pictures of me.
Right.
So I must have hit that, but I didn't really know why.
So this was just one big mistake.
Yeah.
Is this not the entire reason that the hidden feature exists on smartphones? To prevent this exact situation that this pedophile is claiming is happening.
And how old are you?
I'm actually 27.
Not true. At the time of our confrontation, Velez had just turned 28.
Why? Why would you lie about your age by 1 year? I mean, I suppose this guy is probably as intelligent as somebody from Derby, so it's totally possible that he could have just counted the years incorrectly.
Why did you do it then?
It's the first time for me. I never went to someone's house.
You know, I hear that all the time.
I have a 16-year-old friend. I do. Yes, I do. I don't have any friends. I have no friends. I have a 16-year-old friend. I don't have any friends. I have a 16-year-old friend. I don't have any friends.
I have a 16-year-old friend.
Bullshit.
To be honest, I have friends that are 16 to 30. We all hang out, but we all just conversate.
What do a 16-year-old and a 30-year-old have in common, besides the creepy child predator with the receding hairline and terrible dress sense?
I wasn't going to walk through that door. I really wasn't. Thank you for this actual experience.
What is that graphic?
Do you live by yourself?
No, I live with my 3 dogs.
Do you not live with the fiancé that you were trying to cheat on with a child? Jesse then starts to flaunt his ring for some reason. It's the only explanation as to why he's putting his hand in front of his face like he's blocking it or something. I don't know. He is pretty dumb, to be fair. And then Chris gets him to say the lesson of the day's ordeal.
What's the lesson here, Jose?
The lesson here is don't walk into no one's house that you don't know who actually even lives there. That's to be honest. Don't do the same thing to other people that you wouldn't want done to you.
Or, hear me out. Maybe the lesson is, don't try and shag young teenagers who are closer to primary school than employment, you massive nonce. So the police grab him, and like I've said before, I wish they'd have just tased him a little, or like accidentally elbow dropped him, maybe a bit of a rock bottom, somebody comes in with a steel chair or something, I don't know, just a little bit of accidental hurt. You know, just a smidge of good police brutality for once.
What do you think?
No, they've just handcuffed you after you attempted to commit a serious crime, you know, just for shits and giggles.
Wrong again, genius.
Like every other predator so far, they book him, and in the interrogation, Jesse contradicts what he said earlier.
I actually still talk to people from that website that I actually made friends with. I don't have any friends. I have no friends. I actually still talk to people from that website that I actually made friends with. I have no friends. I have no friends.
I have no friends.
I have a 16-year-old friend.
He was suspicious. He knew that he was up to no good because the on-site decoy to Jesse looked a little older than 13.
Don't sugarcoat it, Chris. The kid looked like he fought on Omaha Beach.
So he asked him for his ID. I think he thought he might be involved in an investigation. But who asks somebody for their ID unless they're up to no good?
The police, bouncers, bank attendants, barmen. Finally, Jesse copped to 2 charges and has to register as a sex offender once he's served 5 years in jail, suspended after serving 2. I have no idea why Jesse is my favourite predator to talk about. Maybe it's because of his pitiful defence or the fact that he was on TV not long before this, but either way, he's just hilarious, and it's nice to know that he lives near the city of Derby, Connecticut, showing that any place called Derby is a dump filled with creeps.
I have no friends. I have no friends.
I have no friends. Ladies and gentlemen, prepare yourself. We have talked about balding nonces earlier, but prepare to meet the second most famous bald nonce of all time, Mr. Michael Manzi!
There is some debate about whether Manzi was a predator or not, and personally I feel that even though he didn't send anything overtly sexual, that almost definitely would have come with time, especially with the stuff that he was saying that was borderline. I believe that he went round to the decoy's house, and if they were real, he would have tried to groom her into something that then would have made him indisputably a predator. Otherwise, why was he asking the decoy, do you blaze, or how's your downward dog? Either way, let's look at the episode.
This 32-year-old guy wants to spend a Sunday afternoon chilling with a 13-year-old girl after texting her about getting stoned. But Mike Manzi's date is about to go up in smoke.
Hey.
You'll be shocked when you hear what Manzi does for a living. He's a math tutor.
Genuine question. Does a maths tutor only work with children? I suppose that they would make up the bulk of the clientele, but do they tend to work with adults as well?
But you might say Manzi flunked basic arithmetic, because 32 plus 13 adds up to trouble.
45. Trouble, yes, trouble.
Online, he calls himself Mike Thriller.
That is up there with the worst and cringiest names in TCAP or Hansen vs. Predator history.
These are some of the texts.
So Mike is invited in and immediately searches the house like he has a warrant, whilst Bailey is standing there panicking and she is helpless to stop him. Unsurprisingly, he wanders straight into Chris Hansen and crew, then is told to have a seat.
Have a seat right on that stool, please.
Sure.
No, right here, sir.
No, I know.
Please, right there. Right, sir. Sit, please.
Okay.
Why are you being such an ass about sitting down? What's wrong with you? I mean, besides trying to meet a 13-year-old home alone. So Mike and Chris chat for a bit, and Mike will not stop being a snarky prick. He's acting like everything he's saying is completely true, but in a more obnoxious way than most predators usually do. It's odd and off-putting, like finding out a loved one of yours is from Derby.
Again, you see how this looks.
I know how it looks.
That phrase from Chris is so underrated. People always quote, "Why don't you have a seat?" and "I have the chat log." But you see how this looks is just as good as the both of those. Chris grills him some more and lets the homeless Prince William know what's going on.
Please.
I'm Chris Hansen.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Why would I lie?
He very clearly is. It really doesn't matter either way whether he is or he isn't. This should really not be your main concern in this situation. So they tell him he can leave, but he doesn't want to use the garage exit and instead whines like a little bitch until finally storming off like a toddler, right into the arms of the police.
Manzi argues with the cops, and while he's not resisting arrest, he sure isn't being overly cooperative. Listen closely. The cops tell Manzi they may have to pull out the taser.
Tase him regardless. Hit him with a baton if you need to. Or just want to.
He takes off his jacket before posing for a mugshot. His t-shirt is a math equation. It's a t-shirt popular with graduates of MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. But he didn't go there. He got his degree from a small New York college.
That one there was a violation. Personally, I wouldn't have it.
As he's booked, he bites his fingernails.
I really hate when people do that. Like, to me, it's on a layer of nails on a chalkboard. So Manzi gets interrogated, and I'm just wondering how one man's eyes can be both bulging and sunken at the same time. Anyway, he gets a 3-year suspended sentence and avoids the registry entirely. Moral of the story? Don't try to meet up with children. It's weird and gross.
Yeah, now I'm panicking.
Yeah, don't panic.
No, I am, because I'm going to lose my job.
But what's
The next two guys will be done together, and fun fact, they are the only two Predators in Hansen vs. Predator to appear on the show but not have their episodes officially uploaded to YouTube. So Chris introduces the segment as examples of what Hansen vs. Predator does to guys when they don't turn up to the house. So first out of the two is Michael Popovich, and he's interesting to me because it means that 3 of the 11 men caught by the show were called Michael. I guess there's just something about that name that draws people to Chris Hansen. Semper fidelis invicula nunc eremita. Then he ditches his wife of 30 years to harass this child on the phone. You know what, Popovich? I have the perfect man for you. You even have the same first name. In America, that's been illegal for 156 years now, unless of course you're in a for-profit prison.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling.
Yeah, get his discount Mr. Grey acting ass. So they called his local police department and Popping Shits pleaded guilty to 2 offences and got 20 years suspended after 10. The harshest of any predator in the show, and ironically it was him deciding not to go to the sting house that screwed him. Although of course that statement only properly tracks once you discount the fact that what truly screwed him over was him going to try and seduce a child. Next, Hansen introduces us to David Tiriolo. I heard Wayne Rooney can help with that. Hold on, let me give him a call. Somebody. So they go through the usual spiel, and then we see the text that David sent to the decoy. I just chat to children because I am a normal non-pedophile person. You live in Connecticut, not Vegas, you twat. What's the point in asking that? What does he expect? Ah, shucks, you caught me. Go and molest real children in peace now. Jesus Christ, she looks deathly afraid. Like a Derby fan looking at the league table. Or somebody from Derby finding out they aren't inbred. Or somebody from Derby looking in the mirror. So the police and the DA get tired of this man's shenanigans and chicanery and they go and arrest him whilst he's driving around the block like some axe murderer, and we go to the interrogation. Put the respect on Chris Hansen's name that he deserves, scum. I bet that's a real downer. I'm sure the news was deflating. I was going to show you an article about this disorder, but it wouldn't come up. You never even saw it coming. Seriously though, everybody should grasp the concept of ED. It's not hard. That's enough. He pleaded guilty to 1 charge and got a 10-year suspended sentence and 3 years probation, which is a really stiff punishment. When it came down to it, he just couldn't beat it. Our penultimate predator is also the most pathetic one, 32-year-old Joshua Cologne. It's funny that his last name is so close to Colon, because this guy's a massive piece of shit. Also, he's a plumber. Just thought I should mention that.
This guy from New York City just drove more than 50 miles in the rain to have sex with someone he thinks is a 12-year-old girl.
On a real note, 12 years old, not even a fucking teenager. You already had to be majorly fucked up to do this with an underage person, but below 13 is a special kind of evil. So glad that this trash pile was caught.
Hi, Poppy. Come on in.
Interesting that he didn't hear her call him Pappy and then thought, wow, I am actually old enough to be a dad. You know what? Maybe I shouldn't go through with this. Just kept going, didn't you, Colon?
He likes to be called Boss.
It's boss time!
His profile on the Link app shows he belongs to groups like Kush Smokers Are Us. Do you blame? That woman in a bulletproof vest.
Unreal. I hope Chris Hansen has one of these on underneath his suit, because these people are unhinged and looking at serious consequences. You never know if that deadly concoction means that they're about to snap.
He then makes a bizarre proposal no adult should ever make to a 12-year-old.
You make me more happier. It's too bad you aren't old enough to marry. I would marry you.
Whoever's there is typically the handcuffing officer, okay? This is where we want it to happen. We want to ultimately arrest him here, handcuff him here, and then basically just search him.
So insightful. For those who couldn't understand the complex cop lingo at play here, basically, they're going to handcuff and arrest the attempted child rapist.
Our driveway cam shows Cologne pulling up to the Sting house in a bright yellow car.
No need to be shy, Crime Watch Daily. You can show us his number plates. No one's going to take any notice of it whatsoever.
He's carrying an overnight bag as he walks to the back door. Watch again. He locks the door behind him. What could he be thinking?
I'm sure the child predator locking himself in with a child would bear no bad consequences at all, and definitely is not the start of a horror short film.
Look what I made you.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Well, do you want to try
my
it?
picture?
How narcissistic can you get? Just interrupts her to ask if he looks like the picture, but is also so self-absorbed that he doesn't realise that this decoy is not the one he's been sent pictures of. No wonder Bailey hated this guy.
What'd you bring me?
I brought dinner for myself. So
This grown-ass adult man couldn't even be bothered to pick her up a chocolate bar. This guy sucks more than your average 12-year-old targeting sex offender.
a nice house.
Thanks.
I wish I had a house like this.
I suppose in a sense you do now, considering you're in the big house.
You look hotter than the picture.
Thanks.
Yeah.
1, that's because she's not a fetus. 2, that must have really creeped her out.
But when he comes out of the bathroom, he sees me.
Behind you, is that it?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I know who you are.
You know who I am?
Say my name.
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC.
What's your name?
Joshua.
Joshua. Joshua what?
Cologne.
Cologne. And how old are you?
I'm 32.
32. What did you bring with you tonight?
Huh?
What did you bring with you tonight?
Clothes.
Clothes.
Why didn't you bring a board game, pajamas? You say you were going to be there for roughly about 6 hours time. So what were you going to do for the other 5 hours and 58 minutes after you raped a child?
And what were you going to do with this girl? What do you mean you don't know?
Guess have sex.
Have sex?
Yeah.
You would marry a 12-year-old girl?
If she was old enough.
If she was old enough.
I don't want to say anymore.
You want to say anything more?
He continued to say more.
Yeah, well, we'll finally make out and make love. I was thinking of staying over and leaving the next morning. So when I come over, we'll go to your room and you'll take off all your clothes, since I'm the boss.
Jesus Christ, this guy's more pathetic than Lorne Armstrong, who I made a video about if you want to check that out, by the way. But online he's confident and tough sounding, but he completely bottled it with the decoy. Not unlike the way Derby bottled promotion in 2014, and 2016, and 2018, and 2019.
Why did you have her call you Poppy?
I don't want to say anymore.
He continued to say more.
12, Joshua.
I know, I messed up.
Have you done this before?
No.
Have you ever contacted an underage girl online before?
Yes.
We have evidence of that too. A 13-year-old.
Hopefully, Joshua's honesty made his conviction easier.
And what do you do for work in Brooklyn?
I'm a plumber.
A plumber.
I suppose he could have said,
No, I just stopped by.
there's no way I'm getting out of this anyway, so I'm not gonna say anymore.
Finally, he shut the fuck up. Chris tells him who he is, even though he already knows, directs him out the back, and, like everybody else, he's met by the police. Him dropping his phone during his arrest like this kind of reminds me of Maurice Wallin and his sunglasses, though this Sasha Banks wannabe didn't throw them on the ground in a petulant fit. So they go to interrogate him, and I must say, those chairs look really uncomfortable, so bravo to the police for that.
And is 12 an age that you're comfortable with? That's your preference, or?
I date all ages.
I've heard that line before. Come to think of it, Joshua sounds like Jeremiah, and Jeremiah sounds a bit like Jared.
Now, Cologne is about to make a truly stunning confession.
Nah, this wins the Funniest Predator Photo Award, hands down.
I mean, I did have sexual relations with someone older than 12.
How old?
15. I talked, but I never actually went to meet them because I was always afraid.
Of what?
To be like on that guy's show.
If you're gonna be afraid of the pedo slayer, you might want to learn his name.
What exactly, if you could erase him from walking into the kitchen today, what do you envision yourself doing right now if that hadn't happened?
You guys know already.
What do you think would be different about a sexual experience with a young girl?
I guess in some way I can have, the power, I guess.
Oh, rot in jail, bitch. So he gets set a deserved $750,000 bail, which is later reduced to $125,000, which he posts somehow, hopefully from a loan shark. He pleaded guilty to 3 charges and got 7 years suspended after serving 3, and has to register as a sex offender. Absolute human filth, and it should have been so much longer.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your main event. You know who he is. You know why he's last. So let's all look at Jeff Sokol.
Autumn is in the air. And this guy is bringing pizza to the door. Jeff Sokol is no pizza delivery man.
How is it possible to look both 12 and 71 at the same time? And also, everybody please join in with me with the obligatory laugh at the Predator's photo.
He worked in the insurance industry as an auditor, but he says he now drives for Lyft, the ride-sharing service.
This is why I only get taxis or buses.
He then turns the conversation very personal.
Seriously, my guy, what is that photo? How did you think this looked good? So they keep going through the message that this bum asked her, and it becomes apparent that he's watched Catfish. He asks for a custom pic, and Tetrad sends it, which makes you wonder, does somebody at Tetrad have underage girls on speed dial? I suppose Chris's next target is clear if so.
As a 44-year-old guy, I shouldn't be talking to 13-year-old girls like this. You know, I could be put in jail if the police found out we were intimate. In fact, dinner is delayed. Sokol is late because he says his pipes sprung a leak.
If only there was a plumber around to fix this issue, eh? So after his plumber fixes the issue, Jeff arrives 2 hours late.
Sorry about that.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. No, because it's really dark out.
I seriously don't know why the door sounds like this. He wasn't the first or the last predator to show up, so why does the door creak this much just for him?
That's a long drive.
Yeah. Alright.
Sorry, I'm really nervous.
Oh, you gonna give me a hug?
No, I'm sorry.
I absolutely adore how the decoy is keeping such a large distance between herself and Jeff.
There's plates here behind.
So like...
What Jeff says about the pizza has been talked about to death, but I want to add that it looks absolutely delicious. Then I remember it's American food, so it's probably not that good, but I'm willing to bet it's an exception to the rule that American food sucks.
There's plates right behind
So
you.
like the small pizza is like almost as big as the big one. So I didn't know that. Like you said small, I thought it'd be like a really small one.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so confused. I love it.
I don't like come like this far to like meet someone. I don't know why.
It's kind of crazy, huh?
It is crazy. Yeah. Why did you let me come?
You won't. Well, I mean, she's a child. She's not the one who is supposed to be dictating what you guys do. You are an adult, so take some responsibility, you conniving cretin.
Why do you think I came?
I think I know.
This decoy's mannerisms are very good and totally makes me believe that the predators would believe that she wants to be with them.
Maybe, I don't know, I expected you to have dark hair. Did you?
My hair it lightens up in the summer.
And no, I'm not saying, I mean, I think you look
don't
great.
like it?
She played that off very well, have to say. I'd say she is probably the front runner for the best decoy of this operation.
Sokol talks about a marriage contract and even suggests they elope.
Who do you know this is going to officiate a wedding between a rotting pile of human excrement and a 13-year-old child?
What kind of pizza we have tonight?
It looks like a pepperoni, but from this angle it could also very easily just look like that and be a meat feast. So Chris grills him like somebody would grill a pizza, and they have a back and forth until Jeff decides to start eating. So Jeff stays in denial that he did anything wrong, as in he admits to talking about a marriage license with this kid, but he sees nothing wrong with that, and this whole time he keeps eating and is noisy and disgusting to look at.
What's wrong? What is that against the law? Coming to meet a young girl?
Yeah, is that against the law?
It looks like here you wanted to come here and have sex with a 13-year-old girl.
Okay, is that against the law to
have sex with a 13-year-old girl when you're 44? Yes, it's against the law.
To meet a girl. That's all I've done.
You see how this looks.
You can talk, you can converse, but it doesn't mean I'm going to do it, right?
Throughout the interview, Jeff will not stop laughing, and it's really creepy. This isn't a laughing matter, Jeff. You're potentially looking at some serious prison time.
I mean, what the?
You can't find any older girls?
I can, but I had nothing else going on.
This man looks like the human equivalent of the Gruffalo. He's not finding any other girls.
And even before I left,
right,
I was thinking, I'm not going to have sex with her unless it's legal.
It can't be legal unless you wait until she is of legal age. Good rule of thumb is, if she's closer to potty training than finishing college, maybe stay away.
So you talk about a plan to make it legal.
I will make it legal.
So they talk some more. Jeff said that he might marry this 13-year-old girl, like it's an actual relationship and not a creepy child predator attempting to manipulate a child. Then we get to the all-important question.
Do I seem like a dishonest, dirty person?
Survey says. So Criff plants the knife into him a bit more, tells Jeff who he is, and finally the cameras come out.
I don't want to talk anymore.
You can leave.
I'm gonna shut it off.
Why do predators waste their breath asking that question? Do they really think that there is any possibility that Chris is going to say, oh yeah, we can shut it off. Sorry, I didn't realize you didn't want to be filmed.
But in all my years of catching these guys, I've never had an offer like this.
You can take your pizza if you like.
You want a slice?
I'm good, thank you very much.
But you have, Chris. Gregory Stewart offered to give you pizza in exchange for his freedom in Ocean County, New Jersey. So Jeff leaves, the cops arrest him, find some Viagra, and take it away.
He waives his right to remain silent, and the arrogance he displayed during my confrontation comes out in the police interrogation.
Overconfidence is a flimsy shield.
So you're gonna marry a 13-year-old girl with her mother's permission?
Maybe when she's 16, I would do that. Why is that like so hard to believe?
It might have something to do with the fact that you were planning to groom an underage girl for 3 years, you demented, dim-witted dickhead. Luckily for everyone in the world that isn't named Jeff Sokol, Jeff's arrogance led to his demise as he went through 3 lawyers and eventually pled guilty to 3 charges for 30 months inside. However, that's not the end, as Chris Hansen still has something to say.
I have never, out of 315 or 320 in all the investigations, had anyone ever offer me a piece of pepperoni pizza.
Which, despite what I said earlier, is actually true this time, because Who's Your Daddy NJ was offering a Supreme with pineapple. And that, folks, was every episode of Hansen vs Predator reviewed. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment and subscribe. And please remember to donate if you can. Every little helps. Thank you, and I shall see you all later.